Yes, we are.
Okay, I'll call our meeting to order. Thanks for everyone's patience during our call-in technical difficulties this afternoon. But we'll move quickly then to try to make up a little time with our agenda, and I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of July 23rd.
So moved. It's Jay.
Second.
Thank you, Jay. Is there a second? So I thank you. Any additions or corrections? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Kevin Loki, are you on the line to give us our local labor monitoring report?
Yes, I am.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And
So I have
in.
the, sure, I've got the July 2020 monthly COMIDA report here. So this report covers our visits between July 1st and July 31st of 2020. During this period, we made 17 monthly site visits.
Now joining.
We made 3 follow-up visits. We checked for residency with 479 workers. Of those, we had 3 non-compliant. They were all no proof of residence. As of July 31st, 2020, all sites were in compliance. We had no COMIDA signs delivered during that month.
Okay, are there any questions for Kevin? You're off the hook, Kevin. Thanks very much.
No problem. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, Greg, are you on line for our financial update?
I am. Good afternoon, everyone.
Welcome, Greg.
7 months in through July 31st, you can see our statement of financial position. And as most everyone knows, cash is our significant asset, which has decreased since the beginning of the year. Mainly, the biggest part of that has to do with the emergency loan program that we participated in through the ITC. So as you can see, the cash is down approximately $1 million to date. AR and prepaid are generally timing differences, trying to get a better understanding of accrual accounting. So those are consistent and as expected. The accounts payable, the big increase in that is that we received a significant portion of the Ladders Up contract. That has been budgeted for. We did receive about $390,000 of invoices for that in July, which is according to our budget, approved in our budget. So that's where that has not been paid yet, but that will be paid in August. So that's the big change and swing in our payables. Everything else is fairly consistent and according to our budget. In terms of our activities,
Should they be sending us invoices monthly?
Yeah, we're working on that. I think, Ann, it's a really good question. We've had some challenges with FCCs during COVID to try to get some information from them. We're working on trying to make that a better process. I think it's hard we don't have a lot of insight, right? We know the program's going on. We know this, but we can't even estimate what those costs are. So, we need to have a better system. FCC and us will work out a better system so we can get these invoices on a timely basis. Now, again, a lot of that does represent in the last quarter most of those expenses, but we are working on a better reporting and monitoring system so we have those on a more timely basis.
I was going to give us credit for being under budget year to date, about $342,000, but I guess I won't say that.
Yeah, and again, it's just timing. The budget, all the matters up in the MPs, that's part of our budget and what's approved, and it's really just a timing thing. And so we'll work that. You'll see that even out as the year goes on.
All right, thanks for managing that.
And again, revenue expense. Yeah, through July are a little bit, again, they're a little bit different years than they have been in the past. We've had a lot of other projects closed early in the year with COVID. You know, I would say that our pipeline is still there. Everything has just been pushed out a few months. So as you can see, our revenue is not where it was a year ago. You know, we're right now, you know, we're working on trying to get an understanding of how the projects that are in the hopper will close and when they will close. And we'll have more insight to that probably in the next 30 days to see where, because as part of not only our 2020 year, we're working on our 2021 budget. So, you know, I do think some of that is timing. You know, so we'll stay tuned on the revenue side of where we are with respect to 2020. Like I said, I do anticipate that the last half of the year is going to be a lot more activity and a lot more things closing. So, you know, we'll wait and see on that right this second. On sponsorships, you can see our sponsorships are down. Obviously, there's not many events going on that we participated in the past, so you know that represents you know, significant reduction of our expenses. That number on an annualized basis will be about $250,000. That we may not really spend any of that in 2020. So, you know, although the revenue's down, we do anticipate our expenses and the most significant, you know, categories are sponsorships. Will get back and help us a little bit, you know, overall expense-wise. So, again, through 7 months, if we annualize and normalize our activity, if we take out I would say the emergency loan program, which is a one-time extraordinary transaction, we're at about a $524,000 deficit. Approximately $700,000 of that deficit represents a revenue shortfall where we budgeted the 556 compared to the 1.259. That's part of the 524. However, on the plus side, our expenses are tracking about $343,000 better than what we had budgeted. So we got some pluses and minuses in there. Again, if we normalize, they were down revenue, that we think we're going to give a little bit back. How much, we don't really know. We think most of that $700,000 deficit is timing. But right now, we're at about again, net revenue to expenses about a $350,000 deficit if you normalize this year compared to where we budgeted.
But when we booked the MCC Ladders Up bill in August, that wiped away our expense favorability relative to budget, right?
And that's already booked. It's in our expenses. It's in the program and community development of $509,000, right? So that's where it's just not paid yet. Okay. So
no, I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when August rolls around, we won't, you know, have a $342,000 favorability.
Exactly.
But we'll be closer to our budget. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? It's quite remarkable, actually, that you know, we're only under budget on the revenue front by $700,000 given COVID and all the delays in projects and so forth. But we are catching up with the new projects. There's things on our agenda for today, so that's good. But thanks for managing that for us, Greg.
You got it.
Any other questions for Greg? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, first item, project application on the agenda is WeldWorks LLC. Anna, you want to walk us through it?
Thank you, Anne. WeldWorks LLC, located in the town of Gates, is a full-service design and metal fabrication company. WeldWorks LLC is proposing to purchase a 2020 Ram 5500 utility service truck due to their continued growth. The $52,000 project is projected to create 2 new FTEs, while current employment is 4. WeldWorks LLC has been approved for a great rebate on the equipment purchase through the Monroe County Industrial Development Corporation and is seeking approval of the Equip Plus sales tax exemption through COMIDA. The benefit to incentive ratio is 45-1.
Okay, thank you. Nick Carlson, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am.
You are the 100% owner of WeldWorks. Any other comments you'd like to make?
No, that sums it up pretty well.
Okay. Questions from anyone on the line? All right. Well, let's proceed then with there was no public hearing. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes, I am, ma'am.
Okay, and do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
No, I do not.
Are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. The secret process is complete, and Anna will now move forward with the reading of the resolution.
A regular meeting of the County of Monroe Industrial Development Agency was held at the agency's offices.
Jay moves to waive the reading of the resolution for this one and all subsequent resolutions.
Thank you, Jay. Is there a second? Second. Oh, Lisa, okay. Any additional comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. I'll now ask for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving the sales tax exemption. Is there a motion?
Well, so moved, Brett.
Thank you, Troy. Second by Rhett. Any additional comments? All right. I will call for a roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Tony?
Yay.
Lisa? Yay. Troy?
Yay.
Joe is absent. Brett?
Okay.
And Ann is a yay. Motion carries, and congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you very much, everyone, for hearing me.
I'm sorry we had to give you a hard time getting into the meeting today, but
Yes, indeed.
yeah, we appreciate this, and good luck with the new truck.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone.
You're welcome.
Bye now.
Bye. Second item on the agenda is Signs Now of Rochester, DBA Image 360 Rochester.
Thank you, Ann. Signs Now of Rochester Incorporated, DBA Image 360 Rochester, is a commercial sign business that has been operating for 21 years. Signs Now has been able to expand with the ever-changing technology in the print industry. The business is relocating to the city of Rochester and adding new software that will streamline the production process and enable them to reach new markets by creating an e-commerce site. Signs Now will have more national projects for clients that have corporate headquarters based in Western New York. The predicted revenue growth will allow for the addition of 3 to 5 employees within the next 5 years. The applicant is seeking approval of sales tax exemptions on the $110,594 project. The benefit to incentive ratio is 42-1.
Thank you. Are the project owners on the line with us?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hold on, she's texting me.
This call is being recorded.
I just the record button. Hold on. We can give him 1 minute.
There.
What?
Are they trying to dial
I
in?
think so. I think she was still using the old number, even though I thought the new number. What does that mean? Reverb on the phone here. She's using the old one. That's the reverb. That's the reverb is the back, the whatchamacallit, what we had. Feedback. So she's still on the old one. She's trying to get in on the old one.
Why don't you want to table this resolution and move on to the next one and come back to it?
Then I gotta get the other person on the phone.
Yeah. We're trying to get the
Overheating.
applicants on the line.
Thanks, Rachel.
Can you call
Sorry
her on
about that.
your cell phone and then just have her talk from your cell phone, or will it create feedback?
No,
on
she was
this
just
line?
calling the wrong number.
I know, but can you call her because you're texting her? Can you call her on your
I'm
cell
just gonna
phone
give her a
right now?
minute.
That might be, it causes audio issues,
Yeah.
whether it's the reverb or unable to, it's hard for people to hear.
Yeah.
But ideally, it would be great to get her on the line.
Yeah.
Too many of these meetings went off without a hitch.
I know.
One needed to be a little rocky.
Well, now we're gonna get it all out of the way.
Oh.
So next 6 months will be good.
Right.
So 4 times 5 to say, call it. Did you say that? Yes, I said it 3 times now. Okay, well, you said that. We were trying now. All right, we'll give her 30 more seconds, so we're trying now.
Now joining.
There you go.
Jackie and Julie.
There we go.
Hi, bye. Sorry about that.
No, I'm sorry.
We want to apologize. We appreciate your patience. So this is Amber, and we have just reviewed your project. And this is the time when I turn it over to you to see if there's any additional comments you'd like to make. So it's Julie St. Germain and Jack Carisi. You're both 50/50 owners of Times Now of Rochester.
That is correct. Yep. And congrats on getting my name right. No one ever pronounces my name right.
Well, sometimes.
All right. Yeah, we were listening into the live, so we kind of knew we were up, but couldn't figure out. Very happy to be here. All right. So we are very excited about our project. This will be our 4th expansion in 20 years. We started in Henrietta in November of 1999, and we actually used the COMIDA, the Great Rate program, and one other program, I don't remember what it's called, 10 years ago in 2010 when we moved into this location. And since then, we have doubled our staff and increased our sales 226%. And with this new project, we hope to continue the same trend. Our plan is to add 3 to 5 full-time employees in the next 5 years. And we're adding, I believe you already said, some new technologies and to try to get to some national projects, basically. So I think everything else you covered in the original conversation. So, do you have any questions for us?
Thank you for that summary. Are there questions from our board? There's a good detail of the project cost on pages 52 and 53 that are helpful. for additional detail. Are there any questions? You've done a good job. Giving us all the information we need. Okay, I'll ask you a few labor questions. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes, we are.
Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
We don't at this time. There is one item that is a specialty item, the pay food, that will need to be installed. We don't believe they'll be using outside labor, but we do not have a confirmation of that as of yet. But everything else is all local within Monroe County.
Okay, and are you aware that if there are any exemptions that need to be requested, that happens 45 days in advance?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. We do not have or need a public hearing on this item. The seeker process is complete. We have waived the reading of the resolution because we all have read it and have copies. So I will ask for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving the sales tax exemption. There a motion?
This is Lisa. Remove it.
Thank you, Lisa. Is there a second?
Tony seconds.
Thank you, Tommy. Any additional comments, questions on the motion? Hearing none, I'll move forward with the Jay Hockley is
Yes.
a yay. Tony?
Yay.
Lisa?
Yay.
Troy? Troy?
Hello, this is Mike Sheriff. Yay.
Is there a vote from Troy? Is he on?
Yay, Ann.
Thank you. Joe is absent. Rest?
Yay.
Thank you. And Ann is a yay. Motion carried. Okay. Good luck with your project and keep that success going. And thanks for staying here in Rochester as you continue to grow.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Clarkson Renewables. Anna?
Clarkson Renewables is proposing the development of a 5-megawatt AC ground-mounted solar energy project on an approximately 39-acre portion of land on the west side of Lake Road in the town of Clarkson, New York. The project will provide a significant benefit to the local community by enabling residents in the area to participate in a share of a local clean energy project and receive a discount on their electricity bills. The application is seeking approval of sales and mortgage tax exemptions only on the $8,867,428 project. The benefit to incentive ratio is 9 to 1.
Okay, thank you. Do we have Michael Chiara on the phone, Director of Business Development for NextAmp?
Yes, you do. Michael Cucciaro from NextAmp.
I knew I wasn't going to do well with that pronunciation. Do you have any additional comments that you'd like to make? This is significant for us. We don't often have projects around, solar and clean energy. So this certainly is very innovative, and I know you have 165 of these projects nationally, and there's a dozen or so in New York. In fact, the New York projects are listed in the application on page 85. But would you like to elaborate a little bit?
Sure, I'd be thankful for that opportunity. as Anna mentioned, these are, this Clarkson Renewables project is a 5 megawatt community solar project. Really the key distinguishing feature of these solar projects, maybe from ones you may have seen in the past, is that they are meant to serve primarily 60% of their energy going to local residents across Monroe County, and for that matter, New York National Grid customers. But typically we like to do our outreach as local as possible. This would equal approximately 370 homes that would benefit from credits we could apply on their bill, and they would receive a discount up to 10%. That does not change over time. It would be locked in. We have probably the market leading community solar subscriber model, I think. No FICO score checks, and you could be live in an apartment. You could live in a home. You could even you can move it if you move within a national territory. So it's a really flexible community solar program. The additional 40% of the project would go to local businesses and larger companies that have demand that could also be met through these energy credits. Nexamp right now is has over 40 megawatts that have been developed and are being constructed in the state, with many more to come. Nexamp is a 13-year-old company founded by U.S. Army veterans, based in Boston, but with offices in New York and growing sort of nationwide. One major differentiator, which I think should provide some comfort to the IDA, is that Nexamp, as the owner of Clarkson Renewables, would be the main point of contact, from the development when we started through the operations and long-term asset management of the project. Our goal is to own these projects for the life of them, manage them both from a technical perspective as well as for our subscribers. We've been quite active in New York, and looking forward to bringing this project to the town of Clarkson and broader Monroe County.
And who did you say was going to be the local contact?
I'm sorry, the project itself is in Clarkson, New York. I don't know.
No. Oh, maybe I misheard you. I thought you said we'd have a local contact person that. Oh,
yeah.
That
so not a local contact, just meaning more that Nexamp itself, through Clarkson Renewables, will be the long-term owner. So as far as whether it's myself or someone that manages the project after the project is turned on, they're unlike, I think, what you could see with other developers, where they develop a project and then turn it over to another company that'll be the asset manager. We're really the one point of contact throughout the project's life. That was the point I was trying to make.
That was the point. Okay, thanks for clarifying. Do we have questions from our board members on this project?
Is the land leased or bought?
In this case, the land is leased.
Okay.
And we have it is a 25-year lease with extensions out to 40 years. The contract with National Grid will be for 25 years, after which we will either sell power on the open market, the merchant market, or decommission the project if there's no other follow-up program. And we have that decommissioning language and things set up with the town, so that if we don't continue past the 25 years, it would be properly decommissioned, and money has been set aside for that.
Thank you.
Mike, this is Troy Milne. These, the manufacturer of these panels, they require the installers to be certified in order for the warranty to be fulfilled?
No, that's a good question. I don't believe that the actual installers need to be qualified in a sense with the manufacturer, but that we do have 25-year warranties, and our our operations team follows that closely, and our construction team, to make sure that we have valid warranties at the end of the day. I don't know anything that is in relation to who is installing them, but certainly we follow all the requirements to maintain those warranties.
Are there other questions? Hearing none, we'll move forward then. And thanks for that background, additional background, Michael. There was a public hearing held on August 18th. Rachel, were there any comments from that meeting?
No, there was no public participation.
All right, thank you. And Michael, are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes, I am.
Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions other than what we just talked about at this time?
Sure. You know, I think any exemptions would be an exception to the rule. We expect that we will not need any exemptions except for maybe in particular cases, not with regard to solar panels, but with regard to either inverters or other technical aspects where the warranty would therefore warrant a specialized person that may or may not be located or could be found in Monroe County. We've spoken with Brian LaFountain on the process, and you know, he let us know what that would be. I would say if any exemptions, they would be a very small portion of the entire project cost.
Okay, and are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes, we are aware of those.
Okay, thank you. The secret process is complete. We have waived the reading of the resolution. I'll now ask for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving sales tax and mortgage recording tax exemption.
So moved, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Is there a second? From Rep. Okay, any additional comments on that motion or questions? Hearing none, we'll move forward with the roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Tony?
Yay.
Lisa?
Yay.
Thank you. Troy?
Yay.
Thank you. Joe is absent. Brett?
Hey.
And Ann is a yay. Motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the vote and the support. Thank you.
So you're going to stay on the line for the next project, right?
Yes, if that's what you'd like me to do.
Yes, we would. Okay. So the next one is Mendon Renewables. Anna?
Thank you. Mendon Renewables LLC, a real estate holding company, is proposing the development of a 5 megawatt AC ground-mounted solar energy project on an approximately 26-acre portion of land in the town of Mendon, New York. The project will provide a significant benefit to the local community by enabling residents in the area to participate in a share of a local clean energy project and receive a discount on their electricity bills. The application is seeking an approval of sales and mortgage tax exemptions only on the $7,973,472 project. The benefit to incentive ratio is 10-1.
Okay. Any additional comments you'd like to make on this, on the Mendon project, Michael?
I mean, I think at this time, you have the background of NexAmp and our sort of business proposition. I would just say that, you know, similar to the Clark project, this will provide credits to approximately the same amount of households, 370 households, and you know, yeah. Other than that, it's, you know, except for the separate location, virtually identical project and with the same goals in mind. So I'll just leave it at that unless there's any further questions.
Are there any unique differences between the Clarkson and Mendon projects?
No, they're both 5 megawatt projects. The Clarkson AC size project, the Clarkson one is maybe slightly larger on the DC size. The AC size is what the utilities use. So they're both 5 megawatt. That's their capacity they can put out on the grid. Other than that, they're very similar. So no major differentiators that I think would be important this time.
Okay. Other questions from the board?
Yeah, I just a clarification. I mean, so we're giving a mortgage tax relief. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that's part of it, in addition to the sales tax exemption.
What is the mortgage on if the land is leased?
Right. So it's not my understanding would be it's not your typical mortgage. I guess that's a term used for any loans that we should secure for the project. We are, so it would not be in reference to the land acquisition or the site control on the land.
Tony, this is Rachel. It's probably a security agreement in the equipment.
Okay, I just wanted a clarification.
But to the extent there are taxes due with the recording of that security interest, that is what the IDA would be exempting from the tax, which is generically referred to as the mortgage recording tax.
Okay.
Good question. Very good question, actually.
Thanks, Lisa. Are there other questions? Okay, we'll move forward then. There was a public hearing held also on this project on August 18th. Were there any comments from that meeting, Rachel?
There was no public participation.
Okay. Are you aware, Michael, of our local labor policies? Sorry, I need to ask you if you can.
Yes, we are.
All right. And do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
A very small exception to the rule, perhaps for some specialized equipment, as we discussed before. Other than that, we expect the majority of this project to not require any exemptions on any of the labor.
Okay. And are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. The seeker process is complete. We'll waive the reading of the resolution, and I ask now for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving the sales tax and mortgage recording tax exemption.
So moved, Rhett.
Thank you, Rhett. Is there a second?
Tony, second.
Thank you, Tony. Any additional comments on the motion or questions? Seeing none, I'll move forward with the roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Thank you. Tony?
Yay.
Lisa?
Yay.
Thank you. Troy?
Yay.
Joe is absent. Rhett?
Yay.
And Ann is a yay. Motion carries. Congratulations, Michael. This is exciting for us. We look forward to your success with this.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we expect to begin construction in the fall, and with this support, definitely going to really help. And we appreciate everyone's consideration and time and effort on it. So thank you. We look forward to it.
You're very welcome.
All right. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Next project is 93 Marsh Street, LLC. Anna?
Thank you, Ann. 93 Marsh Street LLC, a real estate holding company, proposes to construct 5 new attached single-family homes on Marsh Street in the city of Rochester. The $832,397 project is supported by the city of Rochester as part of their core housing owner incentive exemption or choice program. The choice program's goal is to encourage homeownership in the city. Upon the sale of each unit, the property tax abatement transfers to the individual owner. The city has indicated that this project will assist in achieving the goals of the choice program and asks for COMIDA's partnership. The 952 square foot market rate townhomes will have 2 bedrooms and 1.5 baths. The applicant seeks approval of a jobs plus property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax, and sales tax exemptions. The job requirement is not applicable for choice program projects. The benefit to incentive ratio is 3-to-1.
Thank you. Is Matthew Denker on the line?
I am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So this is a partnership and you own 37.5% of the partnership, I understand?
I'm actually a 12.5% partner, but I'm the managing partner.
Okay. Maybe our details on that.
The other name at 37.5% is Mark, so it's pretty close to mine. If they got switched, that happens all the time.
Okay. Is there anything we need to clarify on that, Anna?
No, and this is Rachel. The application does indicate it's Mark who has the 35% partnership ownership interest. Matt, who's on the line, has 12.5%. If you look at page 182 of the packet.
I'm sorry, but you're right. No
problem.
I was mixing Mark and Matt.
I've been getting that for all 37 years of my life now, so don't worry at all.
I apologize. Okay. Would you like to elaborate on the project? Tell us more about it.
Sure. So we've owned the existing 6-unit building on the property for 7 years now. It was one of my earliest real estate purchases here in the city. It's 6 of 14 units that I own in town. This is going to be the 3rd new build project that I've done. We actually broke ground on the 2nd one this morning at 170 Atkinson Street here in the city. And I'm really excited to be pioneering the choice exemption to the rest of the city. City Hall expanded it last fall with the hopes of having more small-scale infill owner-occupied projects like this. And you know, we've gotten there. It was always our hope to build something on the underutilized parking lot that we have there. It's a 6-unit building, and the parking lot next to it is 30 or 40 spaces worth of parking. So we're really excited to build these townhouses there and kind of reconfigure the lot to be more neighborhood friendly and walkable.
Great. Do we have questions from the board on this project?
When do you anticipate starting construction, and when will they be ready for occupancy?
Sure. So we are looking to start construction in the next month or so. We're busy closing on this right now that we're here, and we're also busy closing on the construction loan at the moment, which we've partnered with originally FSB when we started this 6 months ago, but it's now Evans Bank. They've fully merged now, and we're hoping to start construction sometime in September. We would like to be done in February. There'll probably be some site work after that, just because planting shrubs in February is not like the height of the season here in Rochester, but we expect them to be completely finished next March or April.
Okay, other questions? All right, hearing none. There was a public hearing held on this project on August 18th. Were there any comments from that meeting, Rachel?
No, there were no comments.
Okay. Matthew, I'll ask you some local labor questions. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
I am.
Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
I do not.
Are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
I am.
Thank you. The secret process is complete. We're waiving the reading of the resolutions, which have been provided to all of us prior to the meeting. I'll ask for a motion to inducement and final resolution approving the real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax, and sales tax exemption. Is there a motion?
Moved, Jay.
Seconded, Lisa. Okay, thank you, Jay and Lisa. Any additional questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Tony?
Yay.
Lisa? Yay. Troy?
Okay.
Joe is absent. Rex? Yes, Rex? Did we lose Rex?
He's still on there.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Yay. Excuse me.
You're probably screaming at your phone. Okay, thank you. And Ann is a yay. Thank you, Terry. Congratulations. Looks like a great project. We'll look forward to seeing it next spring.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. All right, and now we'll move into project modification. And the first one is Indus, South Union Street, Indus, South Union Street, Indus. I think it's misspelled on my motion document here. Indus, South Union Street. Anna?
Thank you, Ann. Apologies for that typo. Indus South Union Street LLC, a real estate holding company affiliated with Indus Hospitality Group, or IHG, is constructing a Hampton Inn and Suites hotel adjacent to the Strong National Museum of Play in the city of Rochester. The project was approved by the board in March of 2020 for mortgage recording tax exemption, sales tax exemption on construction materials, furniture and fixtures, and the job plus property tax abatement on the increase in assessment due to renovation. The applicant is seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31st, 2021, as the project has delayed construction due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, I don't believe we have representatives here to elaborate further on this. Are there any questions? Okay, this is an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31, 2021, due to COVID. Can I have a motion on that?
Royal motion.
Thank you, Troy. Is there a second?
Tony, second.
Tony, a second is the motion. Any additional questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. 600 East Avenue, another modification, Anna?
Yes, 600 East, oh, excuse me, I think I've gotten mixed up in my,
No, that's right.
oh,
Easton Goodman.
This is right.
that's it? Oh, okay.
The assumption.
Oh, yes, okay, 600 East Ave. John C. Cothran as trustee under the revocable trust agreement dated July 19th, 1996, has entered into an agreement to purchase a mixed-use building at the corner of East Avenue and Goodman Street in the city of Rochester. The project includes Class A office space, common areas including a conference room and kitchen for the use of commercial tenants, as well as apartments. The applicant is requesting approval to assume the custom property tax abatement.
So I believe we have John Cochran with us, the trustee assignee. Is he on the line? And Ryan Briggs.
They have not joined yet, and
Just give him a minute. I texted
yeah,
both
we'll
of
give
them.
them a minute. I can probably answer most of the board's questions in the meantime.
Okay. So this is an assumption of the custom property tax abatement.
That's right.
Are there questions from the board? Anything else you want to elaborate on, Rachel?
No, I spoke to the purchaser, and their intent is to continue to operate the building as content.
Now joining.
Oh, here they are, I think.
John Cothran.
There we go.
Hey, John.
Sorry about that. I
Dan
dialed the
Moore.
number twice before I was able to get it.
Oh.
Sorry, we've had a fun time with our phones today, so I'm sure it's our karma and not yours. We actually read the information on the modification, or excuse me, assumption for the assignment. Is there anything else you'd like to elaborate on?
Nothing for me. I'm just looking forward as an old South Carolinian to owning a piece of property.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out?
Sorry, did you say I didn't hear what I said?
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Hello? You can't, is this any better?
Yes,
a little
yes,
bit.
Hello?
yes.
Well, I'm hearing a lot of static on the line.
We are as well. Mr. Cothran, if you could go ahead and repeat what you were just saying. Sorry.
I was just saying that I am a South Carolinian who's looking forward to owning a nice piece of property in your fair city.
Thank you.
Well, that's great. Okay, any questions from the board?
Nope.
We'll waive the reading.
I don't have a single one.
Okay, thank you. And I guess our board members don't either. So, we'll waive the reading of the resolution. We have copies of that. And I'll ask for a motion to approve the assumption of the existing Jobs Plus property tax abatement from 100 East Avenue LLC.
So move, Red.
Thank you, Red. Is there a second? Is there a second? Lisa. Lisa? Thank you. Any additional comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, good luck with the project, and thank you for supporting this type of work in the county. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you for putting it together and accommodating us on this, and we look forward to enjoying a long stay there on this with this property.
That sounds like good news.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Robin. I appreciate it. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, I think that's the end of our voting motions, and at this point I'm going to turn the agenda over to our executive director, Anna.
Thank you, Anne. Our next item for discussion is, this came up earlier when we had Greg on the line talking about our finances. We have this ongoing contract with Monroe Community College to administer a very innovative, very responsive workforce development training program in Monroe County. This, under Jeff Adair's leadership, has been branded Ladders Up. And because of COVID and historic double-digit unemployment and unprecedented needs of the area workforce at this time, Todd and his team have been doing some work to retool and rebrand the program. At this time, not asking for additional funding, as we still are in a contract with MCC at the original amount. We have approximately $1 million outstanding to be spent by MCC through next year. So we want to get an update from Todd on the performance of Ladders Up, Now Empower thus far, and get a sense of his vision for the future of the program in light of COVID. And with the blessing of the county executive. The county executive, Annabello, is keen on implementing new forward-thinking programming to retool the area workforce to get displaced workers into sustainable career tracks. And this is also in alignment with a survey we put out recently asking area businesses about their workforce needs. There are many businesses out there right now that are hiring, particularly manufacturing, distribution. Lydia and I met with a logistics and distribution company last night that is hurting for people right now, food and beverage manufacturing, et cetera. So MCC is really best in class in this regard. And so Todd put together a PowerPoint presentation. I believe Robin circulated this document in your packet materials. So a presentation about Empower, and then you also should have received in your materials a Ladders Up report covering some metrics from 2017 to 2019 for your reference. And with that, I think Todd has joined us. Todd is the Vice President for Workforce Development and Innovation at MCC. Robin, are we still waiting on Todd?
I think he's on.
Oh, hi, Todd.
Hi.
Hi, Todd. Thank you for joining us. You're on with the COMIDA board.
Great. So thank you for the opportunity to give an update and to talk a little bit about the kind of new way of thinking about this relationship, this partnership with the county relative to our current situation with COVID and the displacement of workers and such. I was going to, if it still makes sense, walk through the PowerPoint slides fairly quickly, but then arrive more at the, give like an update, but then talk more about the kind of repositioning as we understand it. Does that still work?
Yes, that would be great, Todd. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we, in your slide deck there, we kind of gave you an update. We have a link, I believe, to a report that we fashioned that was looking at this partnership as a public-public partnership and what we achieved in the first 3 years or so of having it. And so you have that information. I would say at this point, and some of the metrics here depend on when you define, when you're actually taking the measurement or you're taking the balances and such. But as Anna mentioned, we've had several years now of this partnership. It's been quite successful in terms of the amount of individuals that we've been able to train. At this time we put this together, we're just under 1,000 individuals that we've been able to touch with this funding. And that's quite powerful in terms of how we look at other types of projects that we do and that we have done in terms of large training projects. This is very strong. And if you look at the dollar amount per person investment, you see a very competitive cost per FTE. It's under $1,000 when you take into account the county's investment across the number of trains. If we look at the areas, like I'm jumping to slide 5, if you want to see kind of a spread of where we've invested in, it's a pretty diverse portfolio of skill sets. We have had a lot of traction within probably primarily skilled trades and manufacturing, and the other being more recently healthcare and training, which would now be considered very essential workers. As we move into sort of thinking about the program and where we've been able to create programs in this partnership, one of the signature areas I would point you to, and I'm on slide 7 now, would be the Certified Nurse Assistant Program. And that's a program we did not offer prior to the partnership with the county, but because of the need and the pronounced demand in the space, we saw something we weren't aware of, but we were able to kind of come to a way that we can train in this area and have higher wages that were negotiated, as well as individuals hired prior to them going through the training. So there's a base income that's coming in for those trainees. And that, I think, represents a really great partnership model between the county, the college, and then ultimately the industry that we're working with, in this case, long-term care. But you can see from that slide some really amazing metrics there. We've got 16 cohorts that we traded since March 2019. We presently have 5 in progress, and the total numbers that we served, 358 that are enrolled. And there's a very strong equity aspect to this intervention, as you can see on the slide, reporting the breakdown demographically. But we have a very strong, access to audiences of color, and these are providing, we believe, strong ways to get into one of the largest employment sectors for our region, which is healthcare. This program didn't exist prior to the investment, and we've been able to do this in a very short period of time. We do see a lot of additional need here, not just with DNA, but also with home health aides, which we also, with the county's investment, have made an investment in a program and have had a cohort go through and are preparing for additional cohorts. But as much importantly as this is, but also looking at next step laddering. So we know these positions are high demand, but we also know that they cap out in terms of wage progression fairly quickly. And so we don't want to leave individuals in a position where they're vulnerable in any way, or they aren't able to move forward in the way that they might like. So we are in the process of putting together an LPN program, and the goal is with that to have that pretty much from the get-go prioritized for the individuals who have been already trained through the county's partnership with MCC, so that we're actually structuring the next step for them and working with their employers to achieve that. So that's a model that I think is very progressive, and it's one where we can utilize, the knowledge of career pathways and moving folks out of entry-level jobs that are good to start perhaps, but we don't want to have students or graduates stay there any longer than they would like. So that's a model that we've done together, and we're very proud of that achievement. And we look at scaling that in other areas. Yes?
This is Ann Burr. I have a question on the Certified Nurse Assistant Program. I don't have page numbers on the slide, so, but you had mentioned, and the map confirms that the average cost is just under $1,000 per participant. Does that vary between the various programs, like with the Certified Nurse Assistant program? Was it cost higher for that program? And then how many hours of training would the average student have in this the nurse assistant program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it does vary certainly by program. That's more of just a metric to see what the overall would be. So for this program, and I don't have the number right at my fingertips, but we're probably coming in right around 2,000 for that. And the hours, it's the hours that meet the licensure for the state, because it's the state licensure program. And I would have to get you the exact hours. I don't have that right at the tip of my fingers, but I can get that for you. But it's a more robust program. It's not a 8-10 hour type program. None of these actually programs are invested for the most part. Most of them are well over 100 hours. Some of them as much as 180 to 200 hours.
I see. So the first cohort was in March of 2019. And when did that first cohort end?
So this program tends to span approximately about 10 weeks. And so then we start another cohort. So we're able to move students through those programs. That program also has clinicals that are involved. So there's that aspect. And then obviously they have to become licensed. So it's essentially, we've been running pretty significantly one cohort approximately every 10 weeks. And in some cases, we've had more than one going at a time. So whether we keep that pace or not will depend really upon, I think, the demand. And obviously these students, they're being matched to an employment opportunity. That's part of them going into the program. So we have to, as long as that holds and we have funding, because these audiences are not able to pay the fee, and these are not financially aidable because they're non-credit. So that will make a difference, but that's essentially how we've been going at a pretty good pace here since we started the program.
That's a 94% employment rate. Great. All right, thank you.
It's a very strong demand, as you know, and we have
have some of the partners in this, including Monroe County Hospital, I know is they're looking for many, many more of these workers. We were able to do these workers through COVID as well. We were able to work an agreement out so that we can continue to do the training, which was something that the long-term care facilities wanted because they wanted more essential workers in the space.
Okay. Okay. Thank
So
you.
we've also provided you some testimonials here. I won't spend a lot of time on that. You have those, but I will tell you on the end of graduation, hopefully we're able to resume more of that normalcy. They're quite amazing events because just the students and what that represents to them and the employers that also are attending. It's a really great way to see what the impact of these investments are on the people, you know, that are being affected, that are basically getting skill sets and being able to become employed in a new career. It's really a powerful thing. We also have been investing in other types of programs, certainly not just healthcare. We've done a lot of acceleration and things like plastics and precision tooling and machining. You know, again, other areas that are pretty high demand. And I provided you some information on there. And those programs, what we also do, I should point out, with the county's dollars, is we leverage a lot of the other money to these. We're not just relying on the county's investment. We're able to match other types of funds that we compete for in order to sort of create a portfolio of funding for an individual. And that we see being able to do that more and more going forward. Having the partnership with the county is a very strong, it really adds to the credibility of the college's ability to get other investors, because if the county is investing and we're able to do these types of metrics, we're able to get these kind of outcomes together. It just really speaks to the alignment between our entities, and like I said, it speaks well for folks that are looking at only investing in programs that are really robust and highly aligned to their region. But if we move from that, so that's been ladders up. That's kind of what we've done. You know, we feel very, very strongly about the relationship with the county and the success of this. But as Anna had mentioned, we're in a new era now. Obviously, COVID is there. There's a lot of displacement in the economy. What do we imagine? What can we think about how this relationship could move forward and be in a different, more profound, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And as we move to like slide 12, which is this new idea of rebranding the program as M-Power, M for Monroe County, and really looking at, rather than just corporate training or contracts, which we have done a lot of, and it's really looking also how we can do more, like CNA example. How can we have displaced workers and residents that are counseled through career counseling formally into the options they have available for them to be rapidly reskilled for a long-term career pathway that shows a lot of promise for our region. And that's essentially what we're reimagining this to be. And what that means is, as I shift to slide 13, is it really talks about a wraparound set of services that go along with the training. And most of those would relate to the advisement, the counseling, which we imagine, you know, many, many workers who've been laid off that are in vulnerable populations. They could be from food service, they could be in retail, brick and mortar retail, they could be certain types of office and clerical, among others. We would be looking at how to understand the skill sets they have and background they have, and where best to match that to these other opportunities they could be retrained in, taking into account certainly a personality assessment and career fit and things like that, as well as academic readiness. And then with that, putting them into one of these tracks that we would have available to them. So there's also more of a case management perspective, certainly learn and earn, like I talked about with CNA, where you can have them matched to an employment opportunity if possible, hopefully with the entity that wants to actually hire them full time. Giving them some of that stability economically is really powerful, and then ultimately a placement into a job that's aligned to their training. So that's essentially what we think of, and we're doing this as a college. We recently, our area, began to manage the career services function of the college, and so we now have access to these licensed counselors and a lot of capabilities that in the past we wouldn't have had directly access to. And so we're looking at how we begin to embed that within the programming. But as we begin to do that, that then presents a unique opportunity for us to present to the county in terms of evolving this relationship and this partnership. And the goal then ultimately would be, as we begin to do that, is to get everything aligned to the career pathway model, where we understand entry point, we understand, midpoint, and then ultimately higher level skill sets. And we've designed curriculums that stack from one to the other, and we're not putting anybody on a dead end path. And so that looks differently for different program areas and different industries, how they respond to that. But the bottom line is we see that as kind of a laddering and accumulating of skill set. And as those skill sets are accumulated and become more deep and more breadth, they tend to carry with them a wage premium that we can provide the students. And so that's really where we want to go overall in terms of workforce as a model. But again, really seeing this as kind of being very focused in on the situation that we're in now with COVID. So I'll wrap up my comments then with essentially, as we look at Empower moving forward, moving away from the ladders up model to an Empower model, we would really be looking at probably continuing to focus on healthcare, because that is, as you know, very timely and essential workers. But the other piece of that would be looking at the business side of healthcare. We know that there's a lot of opportunity right now, particularly in our large providers that have sort of become bigger, and there's a lot of consolidation on the back end. And so that's presented a lot of need for workers that are involved in the healthcare workflow, but not necessarily clinically focused. And so we'd like to explore more of those types of opportunities and build pathways out for the community into those areas as well. We also will be taking into account, as we look forward, we've had a large study that I think many of you may be aware of prior to COVID that looked at the future of the technician workforce and looked specifically at the skill sets that are going to be needed across sectors like healthcare, IT, professional and HR, as well as manufacturing. And that's given us a really good glimpse of the where everything is going and a lot of the convergent technologies and skill sets that are going to be present in many different environments. And so we want to design the pathways and train for making sure individuals that are going through that really have access to those types of opportunities. So that's really kind of where we're at the Forward Center, that is now obviously the part of the county is building a facility out that would also be preparing people for that. So that's a big piece of this too. And as we work to have a relationship that goes forward, we really see all those coming together in a really new way, an exciting way, and a very powerful way for the community and for building the workforce, for using the residents, working with the residents here in order to be able to provide our companies with what they need. So I think I want to wrap my comments up there. I'm probably getting out of time, so I'm happy to answer any questions if we have time for that.
Todd, are we talking about segueing into the Empower approach in the middle of the current contract or at the end of the current contract?
That would really depend on the board, I think, in the county. We can pivot now. I mean, these are kind of capabilities that are going to be really important, we believe, at a bigger scale for the audience that we're likely to be serving right now, because we're looking at a higher amount of displaced workers rather than necessarily upskilling incumbent workers. But we can make that decision, depending on what the board and obviously COMIDA generally wants to do.
And I think initially our intent here is to rebrand Ladders Up to Empower, and then we plan to revisit the renewal of the contract into 2021.
Okay. All right. Very informative, Todd. Thank you.
Todd, thank you for your time.
Thanks for the time. No, thank you.
All right, we'll move on. Todd, you can drop off. We'll move on to our next item. Recently, earlier in the summertime, this board voted to approve a short-term project with the Center for Governmental Research. We asked Erica Rosenberg, the executive director there, and president and CEO, and Kent Gardner, the chief economist, to work with us on analyzing our current portfolio of programs and how we function in Monroe County as an economic development organization, and make some recommendations in light of the pandemic as to how we can be more creative and abide by best practices as laid out in some other parts of the country to better meet the needs of Monroe County employers and workers and our workforce, particularly those who have been laid off or lost their jobs due to COVID-19. This is also in alignment with County Executive Bellow's plans for the fourth quarter of 2020 to really come up with and publicize a robust portfolio of programmatic resources to meet the needs of the community. This also ties back into the survey that we issued and our conversation just now with Todd pertaining to workforce. So I believe Robin is coordinating with Kent Gardner and Erica on joining the call. Are Erica and Kent with us?
Not yet. They're coming.
Oh, I think they are coming. They're joining. So in your board packets, I don't believe we had any materials to review with you. This is because Kent indicated that they're still at the very end stages of conducting interviews and compiling recommendations and suggestions. So this will be a very high level overview of the work conducted thus far and a sneak preview of what may be to come. We expect this project to conclude by the end of August. And I'll just give them a minute or two. And I'm happy to answer any questions in the interim. It could be that because we changed the dial-in number.
No, she wrote me right back. She's first.
Oh, okay. So they are joining.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Rhett. Before they join, I may have to drop off before the meeting's over, and I just wanted to let you guys know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rhett. We might move right along then to executive session, such that because we're going to be conducting a vote at that time, and maybe we can tell Erica and Kent that maybe we can schedule a separate
meeting.
We can schedule a separate call for those of you who are interested in hearing that update.
Yeah.
Anna, I have 10 minutes before I have to get to another meeting.
Okay. I want to make sure that you're part of the executive sessions component of today's agenda. So, Anne, I would like to pivot to you to ask for a motion to enter into executive session.
All right, certainly, Anna. All right, is there a motion to enter into the executive session for the purpose of a personnel discussion?
So moved.
Brad has made the motion, and is there a second?
Second.
Troy? Okay, thank you. Any additional comments, questions on that?